that's really what we do as a business. We focus on customer by customer. And what's most important is not the review. What's most important is that we take amazing care of them, that we make them feel good about their deal, about doing business with us, about the type of service we're going to offer after the sale.
Presented from the Aishin Broadcast Studio at Babcock's Media.
Welcome to Dealer Insider, the video series that touches the automotive dealer market. I'm Kyle Alexander, and joining me today is Kelly Strausser with Four Stars Automotive Group. Hey, Kelly, thanks for joining me today and taking the time to chat with me.
Hi, thanks for having me. Nice to be here.
Yeah, appreciate you coming on Dealer Insider today. We're talking a lot about Four Stars Automotive Group. Kind of my first question for you here. Cars.com says only 2% of car buyers fully trust the auto dealer industry. It's a pretty small number, obviously. So what I wanted to ask you about is, how did Four Stars Auto Group decide to bet everything on being the dealership that actually earns that trust from its customers?
That's a good question. I appreciate you asking that. I graduated college 30 years ago and got married. And my first job out of college was the car business. I started selling cars at a dealership in Dallas Fort Worth, and quickly moved my way up throughout the company in my 20s, and learned a lot. Learned a lot about business after college, and moved up through the company. And as I moved up through the company, the goal of mine became, I wanted to own an auto dealership, an auto group. That was my goal. And back then in the 90s, you'd open the store and close the store and all that kind of stuff. And I was newly married, so many nights when I'd get home, my wife, I'd call her, because you didn't have cell phones back then. I'd call her and say, hey, I'm going to come home. And she was nice enough to make my dinner. And every night we had the same ritual. She'd make my dinner. She'd put the Dallas Morning News, the Fort Worth Star Telegram, and my big chief tablet and a pen on the kitchen table, and she'd go back to bed because she was already asleep. And so I got home and I'd eat dinner and read through the business section and the sports section of the papers, and then I'd write my goals every night. I'm sure someone told me back then to write down your goals every night, and I did. And I wrote down my goals and my plans, because although I worked at a very good dealership that I was proud of, I always knew that if I ran it, if I was in charge, I'd do it differently. And really, that's the Four Stars way. With us, everything is about our customers and the client experience. We want Four Stars Auto Group to mean something. When our teammates and employees are at the gym after work, or if they go to dinner with their family and they've got a Four Stars polo, a Four Stars hat, that means something in the community. When people see that, they know what Four Stars stands for. And I'm very proud of that.
Absolutely. And I think you are leading me to this next question perfectly here. What does Four Stars Auto Group do differently that makes its employees want to stay at your dealerships in an industry that can see some high turnover here and there?
I think turnover is a killer. I think we all know that. For me, everything starts with leadership. It all starts with the general manager, the leader of the store. Our visions have to be aligned, and like I said, everything is about not just the customer and the client experience, but also about our people. We believe in taking very good care of our people. Our GMs believe in it. I believe in it. Our people are important. It's more, a business is more than just selling automobiles or servicing automobiles. To me, you have to make it about your people. It's not necessarily about me or about us. And what I mean by that is, when they come here for a reason. They're putting kids through school. They're paying off mortgages. They're paying off credit card debt. They're saving for their dreams, goals, and ambitions. And when you make it about them, they care more. I think pay plans have a lot to do with it. There are shortcuts you can take in the business to potentially make a little bit more money. But I believe that when people have the right pay plan, and when they can do well for their families, if they can sell a lot and do a lot of volume and take care of their families, they're going to make a plan to be here for the long run. And that's really what Four Stars is, whether it's the sales department or finance or our leadership or service. Everyone is a career minded employee. In other words, I believe that 99 to 100% of our people come to work every day with the intention of making a living in the long run at Four Stars Auto Group. And as such, they're going to take better care of their clients. They're going to offer that excellent experience because they want them to come back. If you have high turnover, you know what's going to happen. If you've got someone that doesn't plan on being there in the next month, they start to take shortcuts and things like that, and not really provide the service that we expect at Four Stars.
Now, Kelly, how I got connected with you was through a piece of news that I saw about Four Stars Auto Group that we're going to talk about here in just a second. But before we get to that, something I saw from that piece of news is how you've got customers driving from 100 miles away, passing dealerships that are way closer to home for them just to buy from your dealerships. So my question for you is, what are customers who are coming, again, from hundreds of miles away, what are they getting at a Four Stars dealership that they can't find somewhere closer to home?
Well, we have over 12,000 near perfect reviews online that look like our mom wrote, like every single one of them. And I read every review that our company gets, and it gives me such pride. I tell people, if I'm ever in a bad mood, or if I'm ever stressed out, I just go to our reviews and I start reading, and it reminds me why I do this. It makes me happy. We're here to serve people. I tell our company that when someone submits an internet lead, when someone comes to our place of business, when they do business with us, when they come to service with us, it's an honor, and it really is. I know it sounds corny, but it's an honor. We have some of the best products on the market. We're selling Toyota, Nissan, Chevrolet, Ford, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and we have unbelievable agreements with our OEMs. But at the end of the day, customers can get those CDJRs and those Toyotas and those products we sell. They can get them anywhere. They can get used cars anywhere. And so we know they have choice. And I don't necessarily believe in a PMA. I don't believe we own the PMA. I think everybody's our customer. Everybody can be our customer. And we have to, even the people in our PMA, we have to earn the right to do business with those people every single day. I was in an OEM meeting a few years back during COVID, and things were going well. Everyone was selling a lot and doing really well. And one of the executives from the OEMs stood up and said, "Hey, we have to make sure that even though dealerships are doing really well and making a lot of money, we have to make sure that we're not eroding our customer base, that you're giving people great experiences so they want to come back. Because even though things are going well, you have to think in the long run." So he said, let me pose you a question. Let's just assume for a second, and he was speaking to a group of dealers and general managers. Let's just assume for a second that your next door neighbor said, "Hey, I'm going to come out to the store and buy a car today." And he said, I want you to ask yourself, would you call ahead to let everybody know that your buddy was coming to buy a car? And my general manager was next to me, and I turned and I said, no, I wouldn't. I feel awesome, and I feel perfectly confident that everyone there would take amazing care of a customer, whether it's my friend or whether it's just a customer that doesn't know who I am. And that's how I feel about our people. So why do they come from hundreds of miles? I'm assuming, I read one the other day that said, hey, I drove, I think it was like 500 miles to do business there. And
wow.
There's 5 dealers in my town. I went to 4 of the 5. Before I went to the 5th, I went online, I found your store, and I drove out to the dealership, and I had the most unbelievable experience. I'll be a customer for life, and I'll start to refer people. And I said I actually read it. I read them in the morning. I read the reviews in the morning. I said to my wife, who was having breakfast with me, I said, this review might be the best review that somebody ever had. And for us, we get these every day. But it's because we make it about the customer, and we take very good care of our people. And when they feel good and they feel like they have a long-term career where they can build and do more and do better every single year, they're absolutely going to take care of the customers.
It's nice to have those reviews. It just goes to show the power of what those can do to bring people in, I'm sure, from, again, hundreds of miles away across the country, 500 miles away, like the example you gave. So that's really cool to kind of hear the power of those reviews.
And the funny thing is, we don't. The funny thing is, reviews are important, but it's like I tell people, the review is just the scoreboard. It's like,
Sure.
so if you watch a baseball game, they don't sit around and turn around and focus on the scoreboard the whole time. They
Right.
focus pitch by play, and that's really what we do as a business. We focus on customer by customer, and what's most important is not the review. What's most important is that we take amazing care of them, that we make them feel good about their deal, about doing business with us, about the type of service we're going to offer after the sale. And then the review is just a simple, hey, would you mind doing this? Would it be okay? And most people are perfectly willing to do that for us.
Absolutely. It's all in the little details, you know.
That's right.
I want to shift gears now to that piece of news we were talking about just a few
That
minutes
little piece of
ago.
news.
You're right, right, exactly.
Yeah,
First of all,
yeah.
congratulations and props to you guys at Four Stars Automotive Group for this. You've now won Cars.com Dealer of the Year across not one, not two, but three of your stores now for 2 years in a row. So that's awesome, first of all. What
Thank
does
you.
it take to be, the number one kind of automotive group in Texas, which, might I add, state of Texas has more Chevy and Ford dealers than any other state in the U.S. What does it take to be number one in Texas?
it, it, I'm so proud. I mean, those awards really belong to our people and our customers who were kind enough to leave those awards. Our Toyota store, Four Stars Toyota, is actually in Oklahoma, and that store, Cars.com, has ranked that store number one in Oklahoma for client experience and customer service for 6 years in a row. Number one store in the state, and last year they were ranked by Cars.com number three in the nation. Our Chevrolet store, which you mentioned, is in Texas. Um, we've won Texas 4 years in a row. Cars.com has named us number one for customer service and client experience for 4 years in a row for Chevrolet, over hundreds of dealers in the state, and they actually placed number eight in the nation. And our Ford store, we've recently built a brand new Ford store in Jacksboro, and they just won for the second year in a row out of hundreds of dealers, of Ford dealers. Our Nissan store, which is where I'm at today, it's our newest store. They placed number two in Texas, but number four in the nation. And our Jeep store placed number two in Texas. And so it just takes a daily focus. Again, we don't focus on the reviews. I focus on our people. I focus on the culture. I focus on the customer experience that we're giving. Um, I've heard one of the nice hotels, luxury hotels, says we're ladies and gentlemen taking care of ladies and gentlemen, and I think that's so awesome. And I like to think that we're families taking care of other families. We always say that we treat people like family, and the first deal is a start of what we hope to be a long-term relationship. The other day, we had a client passing through our Chevrolet stores on a highway. We had a client passing through to a softball game for their softball tournament for their granddaughter, and they broke down right in front of the store. And they happened to break down, right in front of the store at a time that our service department was closing, as they were on their way from West Texas to Dallas Fort Worth to watch their little girl. And our master technician was on his way out for the weekend, and our general manager found out what was going on. They got the car brought in, and he stayed and worked on the car. And I think we ended up putting them, in a car, and got their car all fixed up by the time they came back, and just made sure that they were taken care of. And we knew at the time that we would never see that master technician was going to stay regardless. And our general manager called me and he said, "Hey, this is what we're all about. This is what just happened here. Nobody complained. Nobody asked any questions. We got these people taken care of, and they were amazed. I think they brought us some gifts on the way back, on the way back home, and that sort of thing. But that was just natural for us to provide that kind of customer service, even to an out of town customer that we may or may not ever see again.
It's customer service like that, I think, that helps you get all of these awards and these national rankings that you're seeing across all of your different stores. Again, the OEMs you're carrying are Toyota, Chevy, Ford, Nissan. You also have your Jeep store. Um, how do you keep the company culture at Four Stars Automotive Group consistent across those different OEM brands that you're selling?
Well, I think we talked about it before. All of it comes back to leadership. Our GMs, our controller likes to say, we have working general managers. And I'm a working owner. In other words, we don't really have desk people. We're frontline leaders, and so it's nothing for our general managers. They work directly with the salespeople and the customers. All appraised trades. We're actively involved in everything that's going on, and I think it really starts there. We talked earlier about the about pay plans and about really setting our people up for success, because I just can't imagine, um, you know, auto groups, that I've observed in the past, where um, one of the things that I decided when I got into ownership and when I made the decision is I would take a sledgehammer and knock down all the walls in a dealership. Dealerships that I've seen in the past, you have new cars and used cars and finance and accounting and parts and service. In many cases, all of these business units work against each other, um, and in doing so, the customer ends up with a very poor experience. And with us, our GMs lead from the front. We all work together, and I just can't imagine a scenario where when your employees aren't happy that they're able to provide excellent customer service. And so I think that's paramount to our success is making sure that our people are happy. I mean, it's not an easy place to work at Four Stars. I mean, we're respectful of all of our people. We want our people to be respectful of our customers. We do have high expectations. We work really hard, but at the end of the day, I firmly believe that all of our people know and understand that if they do a great job, they can continue making more money every year and growing their business within our business. And when they take ownership of their own business, that's when you get the types of customer experiences that we have, that I'm so very proud of. One of my friends always says it's the small things make the big things possible. And I think that getting these reviews or being fortunate enough to win some of these awards, it has a lot to do with it's not one thing. It's not one thing. It's not like I can say, hey, we've got a pay plan that's great. Yeah, we pay our people really fairly. It's not just the general managers. It's a lot of small things that add up to be something very large. And unfortunately, the opposite can also be the case when groups or stores are struggling. It's usually not one thing. It's usually the culmination of a lot of very small things that add up to be something, a problem. And so the small things make the big things possible.
Awesome, Kelly. Hey, thank you so much for joining me today. One last question I like to ask all of our guests here on Dealer Insider. Is there anything else you want to add about your story or Four Stars Automotive Group?
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to do that. I'm just very proud. I'm very fortunate to be in the position I'm in at Four Stars. I work with some tremendous men and women that care very much about their people. Like I said, we all lead from the front. We're all here for the customers because at the end of the day, everything is about the customer. And I think from, the hundreds of people that work for Four Stars, I believe that everyone understands it. I think we understand that the customer can fire us at any time, that our success only goes as far as our customer base. And so that's why I probably mentioned client experience and customer service so many times, because it's the one thing that we have that differentiates us from so many other people on the market. And I do believe that our customers trust us, and they should. And we come to work every single day with the intention of providing them the best possible service out there. And it's something that we can control. And sometimes it hurts. Sometimes you have to do some things to provide excellent customer service that don't always necessarily run hand in hand with a financial statement. But at the same time, anytime we're doing something for our customers, to me, it's an investment in that person, and it's an investment in our long-term relationship. So I really appreciate the opportunity to come on here and talk about Four Stars, and I appreciate your time. And I hope you have a wonderful day.
Hey, Kelly, I appreciate your time too. Thanks again for joining me today.